Hello, and welcome to the first ever Wednesday Rant. This will be a series of weekly videos where I discuss something that royally pisses me off. This third week of January, we are going to be discussing toxic masculinity.
Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity.
No. I will get to that Gillette commercial later on in the video. I promise. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Toxic masculinity. In this video, I'm going to define it for you, give you some examples, and let you know why I think it's the absolute shits. First off, a quick disclaimer. This video is not an assault on masculinity. Towards the end of this video, I will explain how this term does not mean herder, all men are bad. Also, I know that's two disclaimers pretty quickly, but the first one will always be there. I just had to make a special case for this one. Okay, so first off, let's define what the hell I'm talking about. I found a pretty good definition on Urban Dictionary that I think sums it up quite well. A social science term that describes narrow, repressive types of ideas about the male gender role that defines masculinity as exaggerated masculine traits like being violent, unemotional, sexually aggressive, and so forth. Also suggests that men who act too emotional or maybe aren't violent enough or don't do all the things that real men do can get their man card taken away. Thank you to Sparkly Ninja on Urban Dictionary for the concise and precise definition. In short, this is the American idea that to be a real man, everything must be a pissing contest and there are no emotions allowed. This being a video, I'm about to show you some examples so you can understand exactly what I'm talking about. Incels. So these boys deserve a Wednesday rant of their own. And they'll probably get one too. But I digress. Now you may be saying to yourself, Adam, this seems like a bit of a stretch. But hear me out. One of the major tenets of toxic masculinity is sexism. A lot of the people who follow this regressive way of thinking see women as men as competitors, if not seeing women as straight out property. I don't think I need to make a video about sexism and incels. That'd be like making a video about cows living in a barn. And I think what pisses me off so much about these boys is they're so damn whiny. The far right wing. You know what I hate? The word cuck. Every ideation of it, too. Beta cuck, cucktard, SJ cuck. It's just a terrible word, and it brings out a hate in me that is hotter than 1,000 fiery suns. You see, the right wing has this idealized version of a manly man, and everything else is inferior. I mean, there are whole videos on YouTube about how if you don't slam pussy, tequila, and your fist into another man's face, you're not a real man. Do you remember that Gillette ad in the beginning of the video? There are right-wing blogs and videos everywhere calling for the boycott of Gillette. Seriously, watch Piers Morgan get legit pissed off about it.
This is what this is about, right? So I would say for 35 years, since I basically became a man. Oh, sorry, apologies. I didn't mean to use...
You haven't become a man
I
yet.
didn't mean to use the M-word. I'm so sorry to everybody who's offended.
Man up.
Yeah, no, please. That's even more offensive. Evil. So what Gillette now says is...
No one's saying it's evil.
Everything we told you to be, men, for the last 30-odd years, was evil. Now you're all evil people.
Toxic.
Now you're all toxic with your masculinity. What are you so shut up?
Because that's
honestly.
quite a sentiment.
Oh,
isn't
please.
It?
It's utter guff.
What?
The implication,
What's guff about it?
Here's what the scuff about it. The implication from that commercial now is that basically most men are pretty
toxic.
awful people. We're toxic.
Why is that?
We're overly masculine,
All
right?
the men intervening and cooperating, being diplomatic.
Yeah, the implication being
and
most men
sensitive.
are horrible little bullies,
We're men.
sexual harassers, abusers, etc., etc., and we all have to be saved from ourselves. We're all dreadful people.
Why are you
terrible, toxic people? I'll tell you why I feel under threat. You think it's funny, but if we did this to women...
I think you're outraged.
Fine, and if we did this to women, if I did a commercial tomorrow that basically just showed the worst of women, all hell would break loose.
Showed women helping each other.
Because, by the way,
supporting each other.
Women aren't perfect, right?
Oh, tell me about it.
Right. Oh, no, you're the one who yesterday spent most of the show fat-shaming me, right?
Because you asked me to.
Fine, and nobody did anything but laugh, right? When you said to me, you got to lose weight, you're fat, blah, blah, blah.
Because you
everybody laughed,
asked
right?
me to.
However, had I done that to you...
You specifically asked
Had
me
I
to
said
fat
to
shame
you, oh, Susanna, you've chunked up, which obviously the opposite has happened.
Exactly.
But if I said to you, you've chunked up and you're
thin
fat,
shamed
you need to
all the
lose some
time.
weight, I would have been the front page of at least 3 papers. I probably would have been fired. And that's the difference.
Honestly,
Double
you've said
standards,
worse than
right?
that and not been
Because
fired.
women apparently are all now perfect and men are evil. And masculine men have to be driven out of society because being masculine is evil. I think it's repulsive, this ad. The virtue signalling nonsense contained in it. The implication that somehow we all have something to apologise for. Shut up, Gillette.
So I don't know if you watched that video, but it's basically saying, hey, don't let your buddies harass women or be violent for no reason. But not to these people. To these people, that commercial says, all men are evil and being manly is the worst sin in the history of the world of all time. Frat bros. Frat bros are some of the most problematic people in America. Of course they're an example. I'll let you do the research on your own. Rural America. This one I have first-hand dealings with. See, I originally come from a town of about 20,000 people, and in that area, it's the big city. So I may not act country, but I come from it. See, back there, you ain't shit unless you got 25 guns, chew a can and a half of Copenhagen every day, and have a lifted truck even though you work at a bank or some shit. Everybody back there wants to be country. So women are delicate little flowers, men are unfeeling and don't cry ever, and alcohol-induced date rape is practically encouraged. I think a lot of my hate of toxic masculinity actually comes from growing up there. A good amount of rap songs. So this one hurts me a bit, because I love hip-hop. But if you love something, you tell it when it's wrong. And this isn't all hip-hop either, mostly just what's played on the radio. I think a lot of this is chalked up to the hypermasculinity and fierce competition in hip-hop's history. So not only be a man at all times, but specifically a hard man. So never show any emotion or weakness or vulnerability ever, and be so sexualized that you get joy out of making women be unfaithful. Because, like, you know, fuck her man, right? So now we have a pretty solid understanding of what I'm talking about, I'd like to think. So now let me show you how pervasive it is in American pop culture.
Both of them.
Say goodbye to Felix. Man talk.
Liar.
After me.
I think right now men are scared.
Yeah.
And you could get to a point where women are going to be denied opportunities to advance in corporate America because men don't want to be alone with a woman, don't want to be in the same office as a woman.
I'm so scared to look at a woman. I'm so scared to compliment a woman. I'm so scared to even hug a woman because I better have a big enough bank account for her to turn around and file a complaint or file a lawsuit against me.
Huh? I'm starting to be concerned that innocent people are afraid of being hurt, and that's a bad sign. And so the question is, what are the rules? How do we find out what they are? How do you know if you're guilty? What is going on?
Goodbye. Everybody gets fired.
I wonder if you destroy men or complete the destruction of men, they're pretty close to being destroyed, I would say. How does it help women exactly?
No.
Where's that guy? What's he doing? Take care of him. He's too late.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.
Adrian, please, I'll lose my job.
Why do stars twinkle in the sky every time you walk by? Just like me, they long to be close to you.
Get down, Noah! You're gonna kill yourself!
Noah, cut it out!
Well, you go out with me?
What? No!
No?
No!
No.
Hey, pal, she just told you.
Why not?
I don't know, because I don't want to. Ella!
All right, well, you leave me no other choice then.
Oh, my God.
I'm not kidding! No, stop fooling around!
What are you doing?
Noah, get the ball!
I'm gonna ask you one more time. Will you? Or will you not go out with me? God damn, my hand's slipping.
You grabbed the car, you idiot!
Not until she agrees.
That last one could have been an hour-long video just by itself. I will now move on to talk about what I think angers me the most about toxic masculinity. Throughout this video, I have talked about how men are supposed to be unfeeling, stoic, and forbidden from showing emotion at all. This, I believe, leads to a great number of men with mental disorders not seeking treatment at all. This is especially true of depression. If you look at the suicide rates of men against women, men died from suicide 3.54 more times than women. That's more than triple the rate. Here's another stat for you. 7 out of 10 suicides were committed by white males. Most of those people I described earlier, white males. Toxic masculinity is making a bad problem worse. Here's a graph to show you some things. The black arrow at the bottom is pointing to the national rate of suicide. The lines above it are the states with lines through them on the right. See how it corresponds with mostly rural states? In these places, mental health is limited and looked down upon, at least in my experience. Now you may say to yourself, I don't see a problem. This sounds just like boys being boys. You know,
Guys being dudes.
you may say that this is just an attack on men in general. Hell, you may say that I'm just a beta cuck libtard that doesn't know what he's talking about. But I don't have any problem with masculinity. My problem lies with the toxic elements I've described this whole entire video. The sexism, the shutting of emotion of any kind. Violence always being the answer. These are the problems. Hell, there are many manly things that I love. Beer, shooting guns, camping, sports, lifting weights, so on, so forth. I guess what I'm trying to say is be whatever you want to be. I'm just merely sick and tired of this toxic and obsolete way of thinking. I'm Adam V. This is the Wednesday Rant, and thanks for letting me vent.
He's a man.